The Fantastic Four First Steps movie did not feel like a Marvel movie. It felt like so much more than just a superhero movie, to the point where it really didn't feel like a superhero movie until the end. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys thought I was going to say a lot of negative things about this movie. There's some negative things. It's not like really bad negative things that I have to say about this movie, but there are some negatives. All the positives outweigh the negatives. Luckily, I love this movie. I actually love this movie. I don't know about others, but I've been hearing mixed opinions about this. But we're going to talk about more of my opinion and my review, and then we get into the other opinions and reviews. Again, I don't want to get into specific details about the conversations that were had in that movie. Let's just say they did talk a lot, and it took them almost maybe 45 minutes to an hour to actually use their powers. I think Johnny was like the only person to use his powers in the first 13 minutes of the movie. It took forever for them to use their powers. In my honest opinion, it did. And that was just another takeaway. There's not too many negatives that I have about that movie, but I think the talking lasted way too long, and I understand why they did what they did. Again, myself, I was locked into that because it was explaining a lot of the lore, and in order to understand what was going on in the movie, you had to listen to what they had to say. You had to listen to what Reed was talking about, the ideas, the plans. Now, lore and story to the side, let's talk about the atmosphere of the movie. I really love the aesthetic of that movie. I like the cars. I like how everybody in the neighborhood, including the Fantastic Four, considered each other family. It felt like the Fantastic Four was actually blood related to everybody in that city, in that world. Everybody in that world depended on them. They believed in them, and I just loved it. I love the premise of that. I love how the kids loved the Thing. I love how the kids loved Sue, Reed, Johnny. I like Johnny's charisma. I like his comedy. I loved Reed Richards. Let's talk about Pedro Pascal for a second. Let's talk about him. He played Reed to a T. He was perfect. I love Sue. If I had to rank characters from this movie in order, including Silver Surfer and Galactus, honestly and truly, the best character in the entire movie, people might call me crazy, but the best character in the entire movie was Johnny Storm. That dude, I liked how everybody kind of rubbed him off as this hyper doodle dunderhead jock, but he ended up being the MVP of the entire movie. But I'm not gonna get into that. That dude was amazing. I loved Sue so much. She is definitely number 2 on my list. Number 3 was Silver Surfer. Honestly and truly, I've seen the first Fantastic Four movie from Fox, not the 2015 one. We don't talk about that one. Actually, I haven't seen it. I just seen the cover art and I just know it's ass. But the Silver Surfer in the first ever Fantastic Four live action film from Fox, that Silver Surfer, honestly and truly, I don't think it's touching the one that was in this movie. She was on some other shit. I am not gonna lie to you. Like, the stuff I was seeing from her was actually just unbelievable. Yeah, she's definitely number 3 on my list. Number 4, I'm gonna have to go Reed here. Reed over Galactus, yes, bro. Reed showed you really how human he was. Like, he knew all the answers until he didn't. And I loved Pedro Pascal in this movie. He did a amazing job as Reed Richards, and I can't wait to see him in Doomsday. Can't wait. Of course, next I have Galactus. Galactus was just a badass character, and honestly and truly, when he ended up showing up, he actually had me contemplating on if this group would actually live in this movie. Like, I literally was sitting there like, I don't think they're gonna make it out. Literally the stakes were so high in this movie, you don't understand how high the stakes were. I felt like I was gonna die with them. I really did. I felt like I was gonna die with them, honestly and truly. But we're not going to talk about that. And of course, with the last character, the Thing, they didn't really do him much justice. And then, the clobbering time, bro. I hope he works on that. It was the first one. I ain't going to hold that over his head, but that first clobbering time, I was smiling, and then he said it, and I'm like, damn, that was very underwhelming. But overall, I love the cast. This was actually a really great casting. I loved the entire group. I loved Galactus. I loved the Silver Surfer, even though a lot of people were making a big commotion over the Silver Surfer. We're not going to get into that. We're not. But overall, I love the movie. movie. And again, I'm gonna give it an 8.6, 8.7 out of 10. Not a bad movie at all. Honestly and truly, this is one of the first good Marvel movies I've seen in a long time since Spider-Man No Way Home. That is a long time. Nothing, honestly and truly, nothing really caught my attention from Marvel until this movie was announced, honestly and truly. And me personally, again, I'm a DC fan, but I love the First Family, the Fantastic Four, one of my favorite groups in all of fiction. I think they're right under the Green Lantern Corps, because I Green Lantern Corps, number one on my list, and then it has to go Fantastic Four, and of course the X-Men. But that is enough of my opinion. You guys let me know what you think about my opinion in the comment section down below. And today, we're not done. This is the part of the video where I go and I look at the critics' reviews. This time, last video, I looked at the actual viewers, like the people like us who just go out and buy a movie ticket and watch the movie. But today we're going to check out some media outlets and see what they have to say on Rotten Tomatoes. So, disclaimer alert. If you have not seen the movie, I cannot promise that there will not be spoilers in this portion of the video. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, it is your time to leave. I give you time.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
So here we are on Rotten Tomatoes, and these are pretty much like verified critic reviews. These are like, I guess they're part of media outlets. So I want to start off with Thelma Adams. She gave it a 3 out of 5. And this is on August 1st, so she just watched the movie. And she's also a top critic for AARP Movies for Grown-Ups. With lowest common denominator baby jokes, this fair-to-meh superhero movie features a gaggle of great actors working at their lowest gears, while Papa Pascal is on the verge of being 2025's most overexposed star. Wow. I'm not gonna say Pedro Pascal is overexposed, but he has been in a lot of movies. This year, I really haven't been paying attention to a lot of movies outside of, like movies like Sinners, Karate Kid, Captain America, all the other stuff. So I don't know too many Pedro Pascal movies that came out this year besides the Fantastic Four. So, Thelma, I can't agree or disagree. We're neutral. Moving on, we have Brian Gill here from Mad About Movies podcast, and he gave the movie a A. This is the most important MCU movie in half a decade. I can agree. He also says it is a massive step in the right direction. The visuals are stunning, the cast is locked in, and the writing is surprisingly solid. And I can agree with that. Those are a lot of the points that I said not too long ago. That lore was really good. It was just a lot of talking. The visuals, the CGI, Galactus looked amazing. Bro, I sat front row watching this movie and I couldn't believe what the fuck I was seeing on the screen, because that's how good the CGI looked. So yes, I have to agree with Mr. Brian here. Moving on to Eileen Jones from the Jacobin. This looks like a Rotten Tomato, guys. We gotta read this one. It seemed to me a little on the sleepy side as far as pacing and level of narrative excitement. I told you guys, to the casual watcher, a person that's just now getting into the MCU, a person that doesn't really know who the Fantastic Four is, or seeing the Fantastic Four for the first time, there was parts in the movie where I was like, oh, they're doing a little, this is gonna throw somebody off. And here we are. Eileen Jones says exactly what I was trying to explain. And she continues to say, and the Pedro Pascal infatuation, which would normally charge this material, is beginning to pall a bit. She continues on to say that Pedro Pascal is starting to star in every single movie now. And she is the second person I've seen said that so far. I agree with that beginning part. I agree with it to an extent. If you are a MCU comic fan, you've been locked in on the MCU for years, you've been, you like superheroes, you love superheroes, you've been in the comics for forever, it's not as bad to you. But to a casual person like maybe Eileen, it's not. It's a snore fest in some part. It's a dead part. Let's not say a snore fest. It's a dead part in the movie. All right, guys. So we're gonna do one more, and I want to do this one right here from Ruth Maramis from Flix Chatter Film Blog. She gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Whoa. The 5th live action adaptation of Marvel's First Family still doesn't live up to its name. I've seen a couple of people say that. I respectfully am going to disagree. I feel like this is probably the closest version, the best version. Of course, it's the best version, but I think it's pretty close to accurate. But anyways, as nifty as the retro visuals are, I love the retro visuals. I love the aesthetic. The world they inhabit doesn't feel lived in, and the main characters appear one-dimensional. That's cap. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. I'm gonna respectfully disagree on this one. I think the only one-dimensional character, in my honest opinion, was really the Thing. He's the only person that I rarely remember in this movie. The only thing I remember him doing is lifting a car up and saying it's clobbering time. And honestly and truly, I hope he gets more shine in Doomsday, because they didn't really do the Thing justice. Honestly and truly, he was just there. But Ruth, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree. I could get where you're coming from. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying, but I'm just gonna respectfully disagree on this one. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. You guys let me know what you think about Fantastic Four First Steps. I love the movie. 8.6, 8.7 out of 10. You guys let me know your rating or your grade or whatever you want to do with it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's talk about it. With that being said, it's your boy Asfumis. I'll see you on the next one.